Hey y'all, what's going on? So a lot of people that might be new to podcasting want to know the difference in the various mics you see people using. Now, you're going to see me using a variety of them, and I just want to do a quick tutorial, nothing major, nothing deep, about the differences in the mics and when to use them. So, for example, we're going to compare a condenser microphone to a dynamic microphone, and I'm going to give you two different dynamic microphone examples. Condensers are pretty straightforward, but like I said, I want to make sure I compare two different types of dynamics so you'll get an idea of what you need when you are ready to set up your podcast setup. So the difference between condenser microphones and dynamics. Then condensers are much more sensitive and capture a wider frequency with more detail. It's going to give you a smoothness. Now, your dynamic microphones, for the most part, are more rugged, with the exception of a few. Less sensitive, much better at handling loud noises, and they have a better background rejection, okay? So condensers you don't want to use in a noisy environment. You definitely want to use a dynamic mic. However, dynamic microphones do require something called gain. And what gain is simply an amplification in its simplest form that boosts the level going into your mix so that it's not way down here. You want that level way up here. And we're not going to get into cloud lifters. Only thing I'm going to say is if you're going to use a dynamic microphone that is gain hungry, make sure you got a board that can put out at least 60 to 75 dB of gain to make sure that you got a good quality sound. So with that being said, let's get this started. I'll explain them and we'll go from there. So this is a condenser microphone. It is a Perception 200, and it's made by AKG. And as you can hear, it's a very smooth response, okay? It only is using about 28 dB gain right now. And you hear how detailed it is. Now, I do have a little bit of processing going on, but as you can see, it's a very smooth tone. Not noisy in here at all, so it's not picking up a lot of background, which is why this is a good solution in a very controlled environment, okay? I would not use this outside per se, or if there was wind blowing, or if I had the ACs running, I probably would stay away from this microphone because it's gonna pick up in a pattern that's gonna grab all of that noise. Again, trying to keep it very simple, but again, AKG Perception 200 microphone, very smooth, very laid back, very great natural tone. This is a condenser microphone. Oh, and I must warn you, it does require 48 volts of phantom power. So if your board can produce 48 volt phantom power, this mic is perfect in a controlled environment. Now, this is a ribbon microphone. This is a very special dynamic microphone. Hear how full body it is. It has a dynamic mid-range, heavy lows, really crisp top. These are used for broadcast. You do not want to use this in a noisy environment at all because the polar pattern is a figure 8. Now, you also have to be very careful with your plosives. Just a few minutes ago, I was not, and you're going to hear that, and I did that intentionally. This, you want to just kind of sit back and just speak into it naturally, and it will give that gorgeous round sound that you're looking for. But again, controlled environment for this particular dynamic mic. Right now, I am boosting at about 55 dB of gain, and I'm about maybe a foot or so from the microphone. And as I speak into the side of it, it's rejecting the sides, but on this, it's not rejecting the back. And that is what makes it so simple. So if you have a two-person setup and you have one channel, have one person on this side, one person on this side, and you'll get that warm, beautiful, dynamic ribbon broadcast sound. The MXL R144. Now, this microphone right here, This is my go-to, like any situation, I go to this. This is a straight dynamic mic. It has gorgeous side rejection, but it's also a pure representation of my voice and your voice and any voice that goes into it. Now, here's the one thing I will tell you about this pod mic from Rode. It is gain hungry. You need clean preamps and about 60 to 65 dB to push it. I do prefer this one over Shure for a variety of reasons, one being the price and what you get. However, as you hear, full body, it's bold, it's punchy, it gets through. This is my go-to. Now, this is a Samson CO5 handheld condenser microphone, and I'm boosting it about 36 dB for this. This is great for side rejection, singing, church. As you hear, we got a church groove going in the back. If you need something that is going to be powerful, you got some good preaching or something going on, or even for a podcast, for a great first-time mic, this is a winner. So I just wanted to finish up with this one to show you there is an option for a handheld condenser should you decide to do that. And as you see, warm, crisp sound. Clean, very easy to reproduce your voice, and it don't have a problem with grooving. Hopefully this helps somebody out, and we'll see you when we see you. Now, keep in mind, all of the microphones that I showed you are well under $200. Now, the Perception 200 by AKG is the only one that is at the top of that scale, and the newer model is the AKG Perception 220. It does has a little bit more features, but if you can find one of these used secondhand, like in a guitar shop or a music go-around, you can get them right at about $100. The pod mic is about $100. The R144 from MXL might cost you $130 brand new. If you catch them on sale, they're $100 all day. The Samson CO5 you probably will not get unless you get it secondhand. Nevertheless, all of these are at an affordable, budget-friendly price for somebody trying to break into podcasting. You do not need an expensive $800 Newman. I do have one, but I never use it for this type of environment. It is just not necessary. Those type of microphones up in that range are usually for when I'm playing piano or something like that where I need subtleties that these mics may not offer. However, for just simple conversation, podcasting, interviews, things of that nature, the 4 microphones that I showed you will do an excellent job at that. So with that being said, I'm hoping this tutorial helped you out a tremendous amount to break into podcasting without breaking the bank. Next, we'll talk about audio interfaces and what you need to get started. It's simple. It's much easier than you think, and we'll see you when we see you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.